Thanks again for joining us as we do life. It is Doing Life with Maria and Chad.
And on today's episode, Maria, one of the hazards of summer has struck our daughter. Actually, this is a good tip for anybody listening that may be around water. We'll get into that on today's podcast. We should probably start today's podcast, or I want to start today's podcast by thanking you, Maria, for the invite. We went to a pool party at your house over the weekend and had a great time. Thanks again for having us over.
Well, thanks for driving the 2 hours to my house from your house.
It's not quite that far, but you definitely live a little ways away. I mean, it was worth it to, introduce you to our new puppy. We took Juno, who is a 4-month-old German short-haired pointer, to your house to see how that would go with your dog Olive. And you actually kind of tipped me off. You're like, call me when you get there so I can get the dogs together on a leash. And there was a little bit of uncomfortability, but overall the dogs got along fine.
Well, Juno, being the 4-month-old puppy, wants to play and play and play and play. And we figured out Olive will be 12 in November.
Yeah.
And even though she's still very young at heart and she's still healthy and all that, the constant, I want to play from Juno, she was like, yeah, not so much. And I think Olive literally pushed Juno in the pool at one point.
Yeah. And we learned that Juno is she's a water dog, she's supposed to be like hunting birds and stuff. That's her breed. But her swimming skills are not so great. She swims with her front legs, but I don't think she uses her back legs to lift her butt up. So she's more of a sinker than a swimmer so far. But we're hoping we can teach her how to swim, which...
You know what's funny is she literally does the doggy paddle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She doesn't and Olive, your wife, Stephanie, was so cute. She's like, Olive is just so smooth in the water. Like she doesn't even have a wake. Yeah. She just kind of floats and paddles under the water. And poor Juno is splashing all over. I think Juno will have to come over to my house again for some more swim lessons.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. Did you notice the one time where we kind of let her go to see how she would do? She kind of just went backwards. Like she's like, all right, just back float straight to the bottom of the pool. So yeah, that was a learning process. And I need to apologize because she is a puppy and she's got sharp little teeth. She punctured some of your floaty things, didn't she?
She, the only thing she popped was I had a little alligator that you blow up and you put a beer can in it. So it's like a koozie, a floaty koozie.
That's right, yeah.
And that's the only thing that she actually broke.
Yeah, she was kind of interesting over there. We were playing cards later. We played that left, center, right game. And then I was going through the pictures on my phone from Saturday, and you had pulled Juno up to play cards like the old, classic dogs playing poker picture. It was a fun time.
Well, it was funny because your daughter's dog, but your dog Juno likes red Solo cups.
Yeah.
She likes empty cans of alcohol. She, I think, played with a beer can and like a White Claw can. And she likes to gamble. Uh-huh. And my daughter said, and I quote, well, she's a Mitchell.
It is so true.
That was so cute.
Our daughter...
I have a question to ask you.
What's that?
I have a question to ask you really quick.
What's that?
When you got there was a little tension. When you got to my house, a little tension with Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
What happened with Georgia?
Well, she almost didn't come. It was kind of... That whole day was kind of... Right when we were leaving to come to your house, my wife and I had this conversation, do we leave her at home? Because she was just being a teenager and not following the rules, not doing, on one of the podcasts a few weeks ago, I was talking about how we were giving her chores, things that she needed to do around the house. And she was blatantly just not doing them, even though she knew that those things are supposed to happen. But that wasn't even the problem. Kids do that. It was the tone and the talking back and the attitude that you get from a 14-year-old girl. She was frustrating. And I know you've been there with your daughter Lucy when she was younger, and it's just part of being a parent. But we had, I had taken her phone away right before we went to your house, and then that continued yesterday, on Sunday. A lot of questions about when can I get my phone back, and then she finally got it back yesterday morning. which, you know, it's tough in this time because that's her connection to her friends and the outside world. I mean, we're not really going anywhere or doing a whole heck of a lot. But I actually made the comment to my wife. I felt like she was happier when she didn't have her phone. Does that make sense?
Well, she's more engaged with you, your wife, the dog, probably.
Yeah.
More attentive. I think we get kind of lost in our phones when we're playing games or looking at videos. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah, she's not alone. You get a downtime, and all of a sudden you're flipping through Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and all of a sudden it's 15 minutes later. It's like, what did I just do? I just wasted. But it's also an escape from all the things that are going on in our world right now, which are super serious. I know that you ordered pizza when we were over. Did you finish all the pizza? Was there any left over?
Oh, God, there was none left over. Are you kidding? Between your family and my niece and her nieces that were over, stuff was gone.
Let's give a shout out, by the way. Your niece's names again are?
I have Janelle.
Janelle, uh-huh.
Her son, Kyan.
Uh-huh.
Her sister, Kelly.
And they promised
Kelly lives in Michigan.
They promised
and
that
Janelle lives here.
They would listen to the podcast. So I want to make sure we said hi to those guys. The reason I asked about the pizza is I found kind of a life hack that I'm not one for cold pizza. Do you like cold pizza if there is leftover pizza?
I mean, I'm not a huge pizza fan to begin with.
That's right.
But I mean, I'll eat it cold. I don't care.
For people listening, if you are a pizza fan and you have leftover, this is the hack that I discovered here. If you want to reheat it in the microwave, we all know that it comes out like kind of soggy and spongy if you run it through the microwave after it's been sitting in the fridge overnight. This is the way to do it. You want to take, obviously put it on a plate, but apparently to keep it crispy and keep it like it was the day before, put a glass of water in the microwave when you reheat it. It's that simple.
And it keeps the crust crispy?
I haven't tried it, but according to this Australian Domino's thing that they released, people in Australia that work for Domino's released their hack saying that it'll melt your cheese, but keep the crust crispy by having that glass of water alongside your slice of pizza in the microwave.
Well, that's interesting. I would try that.
Yeah. I forgot, by the way, when I was bringing that up, I forgot how much you're an anomaly. You're the one person that doesn't like pizza. And then we had pizza at your house on Saturday.
Well, what's funny is I've had pizza delivered twice this week.
Yeah.
For some friends that were over. I mean, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
If you said, hey, what do you want to get for dinner? Pizza would not be the first thing that came out of my mouth.
I think it's just kind of a go-to because it's easy. And
yeah, I agree.
I want to share another thing. It wasn't at your pool. This happened last night. We were at our neighborhood pool. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but one of the first things you learn when you start swimming is that one of the worst things you can do is to dive into a pool when you don't know how deep it is, right?
Oh, yes.
So our 14-year-old, this wasn't her diving into the pool, but I'm like, hey, how long is it going to take you to swim from point A to point B, from one side of the pool to the other? She turns around and she didn't have goggles. She's used to having goggles on. And she goes to swim and she scraped her chin on the bottom of the pool, like the rough surface on the bottom of the pool.
Yes.
And she's got one of those funny chins right now, which, it's just one of those hazards of summer, I guess you could say. And it reminded me, I was actually just going through photos from my bachelor party years ago.
Oh my God.
I know. Well, the photos that I could tell you about from my bachelor party, my best man, Anthony, dove into a pool in Vegas, and he's got like a super short haircut, and he actually scraped the hair off of the top of his head at our bachelor party. And I was going back through the photos. Every photo after that day at the pool, he's got like a bald spot where he scraped, the top of his head.
Okay, now I have a question. Do you remember how he did that? Like, how the heck do you scrape hair off the top of your head?
He's lucky he didn't kill himself. Like, he dove into a Vegas pool and his head scraped the bottom of the pool.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
I remember I used to live in Florida, and we had a pool in Florida, and it was a diving pool. We had a obviously it was our pool. We knew how deep it was. But in the deep end, I dove off the diving board and I came up and I hit the metal ladder that was, in the deep end to get out of the pool. And I chipped my tooth.
Oh, did it get repaired or is it still?
It did get repaired. But what's really funny is I think the one that got repaired, I don't know, whatever it is, the varnish on the outside or whatever the heck it is cracked. Like if you look really close, there is a crack, like a pressure crack going up my tooth. And I just noticed it a couple days ago.
I bit a fork, when we were doing the radio show here in Phoenix, and I had to go in and like one of my front teeth, if you're watching the video on YouTube right now, you can look, that's my teeth. It was like I bit it and I had to go into the doctor and it had like a little chip out of it and he kind of just filed it down. So it's not, not so bad, but yeah, one of the hazards. My daughter, swimming, you can't eat food with forks. Be careful. You and I have been looking for a new home for our radio show. That's why we're doing the podcast here and we appreciate everybody listening. But I may have found a way that we can make some money. Tell me if you're up for this. Would you like $20,000?
Sure.
You'd have to spend 5 to 7 months hiking the Appalachian Trail. Now, that's not it. You also have to like beer.
Do you love beer? Do you love hiking? Are you on social media? If you answer yes to the above questions, then you might be the perfect fit for our Chief Hiking Officer position next summer. Send us a 1-minute video application why we should hire you to be our Chief Hiking Officer.
Literally the job application. If you love hiking and you like beer, this is a unique job for you. It's the Devil's Backbone Brewing Company in Virginia. And you get to hike the entire Appalachian Trail and post about it and drink their beer.
For 7 months, though, you only get $20,000 for 7 months of all that hard work.
Well, I look at it. Yeah, the money doesn't necessarily match the time, but most people that do that hike don't get paid anything. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to do a once in a lifetime hike and make a little bit of money and get free beer along the way, I think it's you're not in. I'm hearing you're not in. It's 2,200 miles, by the way.
Yeah, that is something more maybe you and your daughter, because you guys both like hiking apparently way more than I do, because I'm totally not interested in that.
And
the beer, I'll take the beer.
I was going to say, my 14-year-old daughter would love all the beer she could drink. That's perfect for her. I'll apply and I'll let you know how it turns out.